All right. This should be the last lesson for this unit. Um, we're going over angle relationships. Some of it you already should know it. And I decided instead of me typing, um, I went ahead and pre-typed the answers for you guys so that it makes it visible, easy for you guys to write. And also, I kind of felt like it would save me time, the writing part. I probably did not give you enough space for some of the words, and I apologize. I'll try to do better next time. But try to write a little bit smaller, maybe, or just use, diagonal writing to help you. So what we're going to be doing today is talking about the angle relationship, and these are the definition we're going to go through. So make sure you know what they means because you will see them again on a test question or on a quiz question. So what is adjacent angles? There are two angles that lie in the same plane, have a common vertex. So this is considered to be the common vertex and a common side. So they have one side that is common to them. So in this case, uh, this angle SRT is adjacent to TRU. The common side is going to be RT. So it's usually if a building is adjacent to each other or something is adjacent, it means next to. So this is something you can try to remember, the definition next to. So when it is easy, the first example, I can say angle SRT and angle TRU are adjacent angles. They are next to each other. They have a common line that they share, and that's what we have. But when it comes to the next example, which is this one, you got to be very careful which one you pick. So in this case, I can say AED and DEC are adjacent each other. They are this angle, this angle. So let me number them so that it makes it easier. So angle 1 and angle 2 are adjacent. 2 and 3 are adjacent. So to give you not or non-adjacent angles, uh, in this case will be, so not adjacent angles will be angle 1 and angle 3. Okay, they are not adjacent because they don't have a common line between them because angle 3 is being created by this angle and angle 1 is being created by this one. So the blue and the red, they only have a common vertex, but the blue and the green only have a vertex, but it doesn't have a common side. So that's something you have to make sure they apply. It has to have a common side, not only a common vertex. Those are the two things we need to make sure that they have. Okay, that's what adjacent means. The next one is what is vertical angles. So when we're looking at vertical angles, I'm sure you have seen them before. The definition is they have to be non-adjacent angles that form by two intersecting lines. So and every time I have a line, another line crossing each other, you create an vertical angles, and this is 4. So in this case, angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical to each other. This angle and 3, they're opposite from each other. And angle 4 with angle 2. Very good. Are vertical to each other. One thing you guys need to know, vertical angles are always congruent. So I know here 1 is going to be the same measurement as angle 3. So if angle 1 is 130, then angle 3 would also 130 degree. Okay, they're going to be the same. Okay. All right, so to solve problem like the example 1, what if they give you problem like this where they want you to solve for y? So this is clearly a vertical angle, and we just said vertical angles are always congruent, so we have to set the equation equal to each other. This is where knowing the definition is going to help you. If you don't know vertical angles are congruent, then you would not know to say 2y plus 10 has to equal to y plus 60. Okay, and that's what you guys have to do to solve. Of course, this is an easy one, right? Minus 10, minus 10, So 2y minus y is 1y. This would be 0. This would be 0. 60 minus 10 is 50. So the measurement of angle y, no, the measurement of y or the value of y is 50. Okay. The other definition is linear pair. So linear pair is also adjacent angles. What makes it unique is the non-common side is going to be an opposite race. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. This is not common. They are going to be opposite. BD is the common ray. They're both sharing that. But the opposite non-common side need to be opposite ray. So in this case, for example, XP and XT are opposite rays. And I can take one example like this. This is the common side for this angle and this angle. So since they have that as a common um, um, ray, those two angles that I double this and this one are becoming linear pair and adjacent angles. So one thing you guys need to remember, if it is a linear pair, the sum of the angle is always going to be 180 degree, and it's going to be an adjacent angle. Don't forget that linear pairs are also adjacent. What makes them unique is they're always going to be 180 degree. Okay, so now we have two examples here, which, in this case, we have this is my opposite rays or my straight line. These are adjacent to each other. This is the common ray. So this angle and this angle has to add up to 180 degrees. So to solve for this problem, I will do 75 plus 2x minus 5 is going to equal to 180 degree. Okay, then you solve for x, and that's what they want you to solve. So go ahead, solve for x, and write down the answer. When it comes to number 7, you have a combination of vertical angles. Those are vertical. And then I have a combination, if I look at this y, this is linear with this angle here, or it is linear with this angle here. Okay, whichever way you want to do it, it doesn't matter. But the question is asking you to solve for x and y. So first it's easier to solve for x because I already know those angles are going to be equal to each other. So I can just say 3x plus 20 equal to 5x minus 50. That would help me to solve for x. Okay, so when you combine like terms or take it to the other side to solve for the equation, this cross out, 20 equals to 2x minus 50. Then you do plus 50, sorry, plus 50. 20 plus 50 is 70 equals to 2x. 35 is going to be x. Okay, so that's what we got. So we are not done because we need to solve for x and also for y. So what I'm going to do is you have an option since you have both of the verticals to be congruent. How about you plug in a 35 here or 35 here? It doesn't matter where you plug it in. But 3 times 35 plus 20 gives you 125, I believe. Yeah, I think that's what I got. 125. Now I can solve for my y. So this is 125, this is 125. So I know this 2 has to be linear this way or the other way. So we can do is y plus 125 equals 180. Because a linear pair is 180 degree. So you guys go ahead and solve for y. Okay? All right, next page. The next one is, I think you have seen this before, complementary and supplementary angles. I think you have seen it. To complementary, to people complement each other, that means they are right for each other, it's going to equal to 90. Supplementary is going to equal to 180 degree. One thing you need to know is for it to be complementary or supplementary, the angles don't need to be connected. So this is, you can see 30 plus 60 equals to 90. So I can say angle B and angle A are complementary angles. Sometimes they can be adjacent, and you can kind of see in the box, you can see 1 and angle 2 are complementary and also adjacent angles. Okay, in this case we said 30 and 60 are complementary angles, and each would be said they are complement of each other. So if the question is asking you, what is the complement of 21? What's the angle that's going to be complementary with 21? All you have to do is, complementary is 90. You do 90 minus 21. Okay, so just try to remember that and write down the answer. For example 3, it's a combination of our complementary angle and what we just learned in the previous one, which is our vertical angles and supplementary angles. So I know in this case angle 2 is 42. So from the get-go, I know 2 and 3 are going to be vertical with each other, so they are going to be equal. Okay, knowing that this is 90 here, that also give me to say, oh, that's also going to be 90. So angle 4 is going to be 90 minus 42, which is, I believe, 48. Okay. And then remember what we said about supplementary angles or linear pairs. So angle 1 would be 180 minus 42. Okay, so you gotta practice this thing. So the question is, what is the measure of angle 4? Angle 3, solve it, and you guys can find it. Okay, you just have to do the math part. When it comes to supplementary, two angles whose measures have a sum of 180 degree. And again, they don't need to be connected like this, the way linear pair is. It can be totally two separate angles. Angle G and angle F are supplementary each other because they add up to 180 degree. Okay, so in this case, supplementary to 30 and 160 are said to be supplementary to each other angles, and each is said to be supplement to each other. So again, in this kind of question, what is the supplement of a 21 degree? All you do is, since it says supplement is supplement is 180, so you do 180 minus 21. Okay, um, so you guys can go ahead. In this case, they gave you 142. Okay, and best way, I want you to solve for all the angles. Just remember this, they're supplement. So find 3. Once you find 3, you can find 2 because they are vertical angles. Once you find 2, you can find 4 because this is 90 degree. So try to do it yourself, then we'll go over it in class tomorrow. uh, yeah, I guess next class. Perpendicular lines. Okay, this is, I'm sure we talked about it at the beginning. What is two lines that intersect to form right angles? And usually the symbol we use is going to look like this. So how does this being used? I can say AC, line AC is, and if I put this upside down T to BD, it tells you that AC is perpendicular to BD. That's what you're reading it. I can also write it as AC perpendicular to BD. This tells me segment AC is perpendicular to segment BD. When we say two lines, it can be ray, it can be segment. It doesn't necessarily have to be a line. Anything that is straight can intersect to make 90. And another thing you need to know is if they are perpendicular, if I know this is 90, then I know all the corners here will be 90, this will be 90, this will be 90. Okay, so make sure you remember that part. The box represent the 90-degree angle. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. We will practice more, but again, don't forget we have a quiz next class. Try to practice, go through the notes, the practice item we did. We'll go over this, and then we'll take a quiz. Okay, have a good afternoon.